Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. We are learning today another amazing Amud of Masechta Kiddushin. Today's Amud is Mem Beis Amud Aleph. That's 42a for some of us. But right now we are still in Mem Aleph Amud Beis in the bottom of the page. Let's daven to be able to understand this beautiful Amud. We are discussing today. Oh, wait, I want to thank you and I want to welcome people who came to watch us on Torah Anytime and the YouTube channel, and Boch is on the phone. We're learning the Refuas, his father-in-law. The Refuas, he's in hospital in intensive care. His father-in-law is Yair ben Cheftiba. The Refuas Yair ben Cheftiba, that's Baruch's father-in-law. We are now learning about shlichus. How do you know? What is the source in the Torah that tells you that a person can send a shliach, a messenger, a proxy, and whatever the shliach does works for the meshalech, the one who sent him, automatically. The second the choson shliach, excuse me, gave the we see the choson of the shliach of the chosa. I prefer not being interrupted in the middle of a sentence. You can, sorry. Yeah, the shliach of the choson gives the ring, puts the ring on the finger of the kala. That second, the choson himself, yeah, she is now the wife of the choson. The sources we saw in the Gemara were what? We saw from Gittin. What did we see in Gittin? V'shilach v'shilcha. We see that by get, it works v'shilach with shlichus from both sides, men and woman. And also from Gittin, we learned Kiddushin v'yotza v'hoisa, but there's a hekesh. And we also learned the same applies where we saw that in Kochim. In Kochim, we saw, yeah, by Pesach, we saw in the Pesach, v'shochto esokol kaladas Israel, Pesach, by Kochim, yeah, we see that both Kochim and Chulin and anything in between, like Truma, they always work. Yeah, you always have Shlichus, right? But Psochim, which is all of Kochim, represent all of Kochim. Gittin and Kiddushin represent the world of mundane and Chulin, stam regular interactions, and everywhere Shlichus applies. Truma, what did we learn from Truma? Gam atem, excluding who? A goy. A goy cannot be your shliach. You're asking a question, Rabbi, about Eliezer. Okay, good question. We, from some reason, do not learn shlichus from Eliezer, and it's not so simple with Mekadesh. Or some say that it was Kiddushin what he gave her as gift. Some say it was just a gift, not Kiddushin, right? And it's not so simple, by the way, because the one who was Meshalech was the father, not the son. Yitzchak was 40, so the father can't make a shliach on behalf of his son. But in any event, it's not a shliach. It's an interesting question. But the father is not in charge of the kiddushin like the father on his daughter. That's actually that's not the case, as we're going to see later on. Yeah, once the son is above bar mitzvah, the father is not in charge of his kiddushin, and before bar mitzvah, he can't be mekadosh. To be continued. Weiter. Frek the Gemara. I mean, it's an interesting point what you're making, and anyway, it's before Matan Torah. You don't learn from before Matan Torah to after Matan Torah. It's always the easy cop out. Yeah? Says the Gemara, Frek the Gemara. What we just said about Psochim, about Kodshim, that's good according to Bishur ben Korcha. He learned V'shochtu oiso kol kaladas Yisrael. All of Bnei Yisrael shech the Korban Pesach. Well, we know it's not true. One person shechted for the entire group, and yet we see that it works. We see that Shlichus works nice. But according to Rabbi Yonason, we're going to see a problem. We're going to see trouble coming. Why? Rabbi Yonason, who argues on Bishur ben Korcha, the mapik lehai kol edrosho achrina. Rabbi Yonason learns this posuk for something else. The very same posuk of V'shoch tosho kol kaladas Israel, he takes this posuk somewhere else. What does he say? Minolan, how do we know shlichus? Because he's going to use the posuk for a different thing. The Tanya says as follows: Rabbi Yonason oimer, minan shekol Israel kulan yoitzim. How do you know that the entire Klal Yisrael all can be yoitze bepesach echad? Can you imagine? The entire Klal Yisrael can be yoitze with one sheep. Yeah, well, one sheep only for 10 million people, let's say 12 million people, 14 million people with one sheep. I think I would get a very, very small piece. And now you have one sheep, as big as a sheep may be, unless it's genetically modified and looks like an elephant or a hippopotamus. If it's a regular sheep, how can each and every person eat a kazais? Yeah, I thought that really every person he has to eat just a kazais matzah. You have to eat the kazais of the korban. And if you have one Pesach, one korban Pesach shared by 10 million people, that means that not everyone will get to eat a kazais. They'll get to eat a micro kazais, maybe not a kazais. Well, how do you know that it still works and it's good? Shenemar, it says, "V'shochtu oisa kol kaladas Yisrael ben arbaim." Everybody, the entire clan Israel, they all shecht the korban ben arbaim in the afternoon of the 14th. Is that so? Is it true that the entire call, everybody shechts the korban? Only one person shechts the korban. Obviously, shchita is done by one person only. One person, and yet you call it the whole congregation of the entire nation of Israel. Ella, here, that comes to teach you. So let's understand what's going on here. Basically, Rabbi Yonasan is telling us that if one person shechted the entire nation, not like we said before, for one chabura, for 10 people. 10 people can eat one nice se also boko. Yeah, that's fine. But if you're telling me the entire Klal Yisrael, Kol Kaladas Yisrael, with shchita of one person, means everyone's partner in one korban, and not everyone will get a kazais. That's a chiddush. Not everyone has to get a kazais. Why? Says Rashi, because Rabbi Yonasan believes that eating kazais is not me'akev. It's obviously not preferable. Preferably, say the Rishonim, that pasuk is telling me kahal, ada, and Israel. You have to usually have so many people. The Pesach was shechted in 3 shifts. You know that? 3 shifts. Yeah, 3 groups of people. One, then the other one, then the other one. It was done by shifts. Like, like lunchtime in the mirror, the dining room doesn't fit everyone together. They eat in shifts. So here they would shecht in shifts. Yeah, very nice. That's the chatchila. But the eved, if you only have one korban for the entire nation, then what do? Then not everyone gets to eat the kazais, and it's not the end of the world. This is exactly what the Torah is telling me here. That if you don't get to eat kazais from the korban, your yaitze, as long as there was zrika sadam, that's the most important thing. Since the blood of the korban and everybody are partners, everyone is partner together in that korban, and there was shchita, there was zrika sadam, the blood hit the mizbeach. That's all we need. Not everyone gets to eat it. Beseder. Questions in 5 minutes, please. Ella, Mimela asks the Gemara. So frag the Gemara. Shliach bekochim inali. So how do you know shliach is bekochim? In other words, according to him, if what you're learning from the pasuk is the fact that each person doesn't have to eat more than kazais, how do you know that shlichus applies in kochim? How do you know that? Answers the Gemara, minei. What do you mean? From that very same pasuk, which means it's true that the main idea of the pasuk is to teach you don't have to eat. But at the end of the day, as a side benefit, right? As a side thing, if one person shechts for everybody else, that's shlichus. So definitely that one guy, that one shoiched who shechted the one korban for 10 million people, how does that work? Well, means a 9,000,000.9999 sent him to be a shliach. So it's the same source. Very good. What do you want from Rabbi Yonasan, right? That's the source. One person shechted for everybody else. I call that in Chinese shlichus. Says the Gemara, and thank you for your patience. Now we get to the real question. This Gemara, by the way, today, the whole Gemara here is all, Tosfos Rosh says that. Tosfos Rosh says, parts of this Gemara are all like one thing leading to the other. It's all built by step, like we knew the end and we just build up to it. The deal mashani hosam disle shutfus begavayu, question mark. That's the name of the game today, Rabbi Isai. The question is as follows. I'm now inserting a few words of Rishonim. Bishlama, before you ask the question, Shlomo, yesterday when we saw the Mishnah with Rabbi Shua ben Korcho, then what did we know? That one person can shecht for other people. Okay, very nice. That is to say, I and you and you and you, we can send someone else to be a shliach to shecht the korban for us. Over here, and this is now the question of the day. Today's question. According to Rabbi Yonasan, if you said that there's one korban and everybody's joined in the korban, everyone subscribed to the korban, it's called subscribe, are monoid to the korban, then he's a partner. He's not a foreign person. He's a partner in what? In the korban. A partner can be a shliach because he's one of the guys. He's one of the group. Clearly, shlichus works. But how do you know that a person who's not a partner can still be a shliach? In other words, how do you know that in case of, let's say, Gitin and Kiddushin, right, where definitely there are no chas v'sholem two partners in one wife, chalila, yeah, how do you know that Reuven can send Shimon, a foreigner, to be Mekadesh, Prince Abela? You don't know that. In other words, according to your Yonason, your only source for shlichus regarding Kodshim at least, and some Mefoshim say that Mimela will apply to Gittin as well. At the end of the day, you lost the source for Kodshim. Again, why? If your source to know that Kodshim shlichus works because one of the 10 million Jews in the world, Shecht, he's a partner. Of course, the partner can be a shliach because he's also he's one of us. Mashenkin, a person who has nothing to do. If I want to be Mekadesh, yeah, I want to be Mekadesh a woman, right? And I send my friend who has nothing to do with that woman, hopefully, and he's a shliach, he's an outsider. How do you know that that shlichus works? That's a question. That is a question that's going to follow us again and again. And I'm willing to hear a question now as I'm beginning to work with a chart and going to show everybody at home the background. Yes, Rabbi, what's your question? Yeah. Lo me'akev. Yeah, that's what I said.
Does one person still have to bias, or no one has to?
No one. I don't think anybody. And no me'akev. No, I don't think so. As far as I know. Achila is not me'akev. And by the way, that's true by other korbanos. It's for sure true. Yeah, let's say Kohen doesn't eat the korban. Let's say I brought the korban chatas. Yeah. Okay. And the Kohanim did the Zrikas Adam. Once it was Zrikas Adam, I'm good. I can go home. My sin was atoned for. The Kohanim didn't eat it because for some technical reason. It's not the best, but it's not me'akiv. Right? Kiddushin Shabbos is not kochim. Let's stay. Let's continue. We have enough on our plate. Kiddush tomorrow night. That's I might see them in the same action. It's not the same thing. I'm not supposed to be like the Kohanim. Here, the Mekadesh does an action, everyone else is Shomei Koine. And he has to drink the wine. That's an act of Kiddush. By Kiddush, the drinking is important. Bar Priyagof, and drinking is the act of Kiddush. The Sheikh the Korban, the crucial point is a Zrika. Yeah. Here's the Machloikis. Korban Pesach is a Machloikis. Korban Pesach is a Machloikis. Some say all you need to do is Zrika, and that's it. And if you didn't eat, of course there's a mitzvah to eat the Pesach, Rabbi Sai. Of course there's a mitzvah l'chatchila. Says Rabbi Yonasan, b'diavad, lo kara klum. Mashein can, the other one say it's ma'akev. That's, now. So now, Pasuk number 1, what we're going to see now is a very nice domino effect. We're going to have 3 psukim, and everything that happens to one pasuk, like a chain reaction, affects the other psukim. Pasuk number 1, excuse my Hebrew handwriting. What do we learn from here? What we want to learn now is option number 1. We want to learn from here. Shlichus, okay? Regular shlichus. Frag the Gemara, no. Maybe it's only teaching me shlichus of shutaf, of a partner. Maybe a shutaf, right? Maybe, in other words, we have 2 ways to understand this pasuk. That's what we're holding right now. The domino game started. Do we say that the pasuk kol kal Yisrael means teaches me, as we wanted to say, shlichus? Let's say 5 people have chabura, right? Can they ask a 6th person outside the chabura to do the shchita? Yeah, or like Begitin, she's not married to 2 men. Yeah, Reuven, the husband, is shaliach, a different person outside the loop to that shlichus. Or maybe we say no. The Gemara is now suggesting this question. No, how do you know? Maybe all you can learn is a very, very limited idea of shlichus of a shutaf, of a partner. Only he, somebody who's in the group, in kodshim, in the chabura, he can be, or let's say bakinyan. Bakinyan, right? You can send me to do a halachic transaction of chosh and mishpat, right? You can send me to pick up what? Some kind of item you want to buy, to do a gbo, right? Now, that's shlichus. But maybe no, maybe only if you and I are partners, maybe then it can do the gbo for you. That's a question. That's what we're not contemplating on. That's a shaila, according to Rabbi Yonasan. According to the others, we're good. The one attacked now is Rabbi Yonasan. Ella, says the Gemara, no, we have another pasuk. Mehocho, the following pasuk. Vayikholem ish se lebais avois se labais. I sweated hard on that one. It says in the Torah, very easy to understand pasuk, they should take for them. What do you mean take? They should buy, right? In Mitzrayim, right? In the 10th of Nisan, there was a mitzvah to be, I don't know, mitzvah, hechshon mitzvah, they had to be lokeach, to buy, to acquire, a seh for each household, for each home. Well, what does that teach me? It teaches me that one person, because not everyone is lokeach, one person does the purchase for everybody else. And that teaches me shlichus in kodshim. I went crazy. And then I saw so many meforshim until I saw two meforshim that answer my question. My question is, buying a seh has nothing to do with kodshim. I buy a secular seh from the Egyptian down the road, right? I go home, true, and then with that seh, I makdish, I sanctify it, I makdish, and we shecht and we do everything else in Yerushalayim, right? I'm not Mitzrayim, Yerushalayim, doesn't matter, whatever. Or either Pesach Mitzrayim or Pesach Doros. But how does that teach me anything about kodshim or shlichus in general? It's just a technical choshen mishpat business. Answers Tosis Rosh, two answers. Tosis Rosh and the Makne. There's a very Atmos Yosef, the very choshev sefer called Atmos Yosef. The Tosis Rosh says that we talk here about the korban that was already mukdash. The korban was mukdash, and buying a korban that's mukdash, I assume, is something similar to hekdesh. When you buy a seh, which was already, in other words, another person was makdishit, and then the representative of the chabura, he actually goes and he buys the mukdash seh. So we see pasuk in kodshim that I can send the shliach to buy me mukdash one. The Atzmas Yosef says something else. He says we learn it from the words veikhu lohem. What's veikhu lohem? One person buys. Not everyone can buy the thing together. One person is sent to buy the korban, and yet it's called lahem. You see, the one guy has the status of lahem. I can have 20 people sending one person, and one person represents all 20. Very good. Memela, that shows mishlichus in general. Also for Gittin, Kiddushin, one person wants to be Megarish, lahem. Lahem is a general concept. One person, all for one for all. The shliach, it represents many people. Very good. So what are we trying to say now? Very nice. What's veikuloim said? It's telling me shlichus. It's telling me regular shlichus. You don't like this? You think this is shlichus of partners only? Let's give it a different color. You think that this one is only the partners only? Okay. So this one is a good one. Veikuloim said tells me regular shlichus. Okay. Very nice. Fine. Let's go now and write here shlichus. This works with group A. There are two groups here, Aleph and Beis. Again, regular shlichus. Shlichus, fine, nice. Frag the Gemara, what do you mean? Did you hear what I told you a second ago? They send, who do they send? The people who want to do the Korban Pesach to buy the Korban Pesach. Do they dafka send the neighbor? Maybe they send who? One of their chabura. Maybe they send 15 years old, Shloimele. Maybe they send one guy, one of the group. You missed the boat. You're still stuck in the same place. Frag the Gemara, V'dilma, maybe Hosam Nami, maybe in the case of acquiring the Korban Pesach, there too, the Isla Shutfus Begavayu. Excuse me, maybe there also, we're talking about a guy that has Shutfus in it. Maybe one of the Bnei Chabura, one of the family, one of the partners in the Chabura, he's the one who goes to buy the set. Back to square one. You're still stuck because you still don't know the shlichut you want to know. You don't know that a man can send a foreign person, an outsider, to bring the get or to give the get, right? Or even in kodshim, I don't know that one person can shecht for the other if they're not connected. Says the Gemara, im ken trei kroi lamali. No, it is shlichus. Because why do you need two psukim to tell me the same? This concept we had many, many times, but I'll say it again. I like to call it the overflow. That's how I call it in yeshiva. When you have two psukim who tell me the same thing, the Torah is not a nice Jewish website. The Torah doesn't write extra words, definitely does not repeat the same concept twice just because it feels like. So if you say the same thing twice, you're basically overflowing. You're coming to teach me on another case that's a bigger chiddush, right? In other words, let two people standing next to the other. Oh, let's say I want to give you papers, right? Sometimes I give you papers with charts. Let's say I give Yosef, who's sitting now next to Ellen, I give you two papers. Right? You don't need two papers with the same text exactly. Automatically, Big Baal Chesed, you give one to Ellen. That's a good example. When you have two psukim to do similar to each other, and the halacha says the same thing twice to one pasuk, we overflow it. We basically give it over to the other halacha, and therefore, im einu inyan lecha de shayach, tneu inyan lecha de loy shayach. Very, very good. Which means this pasuk is teaching me shlichus. You're right. The two psukim, b'shachtu kol kal Israel, and b'ikulam se, both psukim are seemingly saying the same. They talk about a person who is involved with Korban Pesach. He's one of the guys, one of the Chabura, and he can act upon on behalf of them. Why do you say the same thing twice? You know why? Because it comes to teach me shlichus without partnership. The shlichus without partnership, and you know how that works? Because of Shnei Ksuvim, because of Im Eino Inyan. Im Eino Inyan, that's the way it works. Okay? That's what we want to say. Okay, Imenu Inyan, it's shlichus, regular shlichus. Yeah, not the green one, the blue one. In our chart, shlichus. Because otherwise, why do you say the same thing twice? Shlichus, even if it's foreign, even if the person who buys the korban, shechts the korban, whatever, is not one of the Bnei Chabura, is an outside guy, it still works. So far, so good. We're building the dominoes slowly. Frek the Gemara, no. You're telling me that the pasuk v'yikvu lahem seh is redundant? Listen carefully to the words because that's a major point now. Only if it's redundant, we can say two things don't tell you the same. And then because it's extra, it's teaching mishlichus. If I will find a different need for the pasuk v'yikvu lahem seh, my domino falls now. Frek the Gemara, no. You think that the pasuk v'yikvu lahem seh is excuse me. I missed a major word. Bad. It says in the Torah, in a way it's good, because now it's stressed more. Veikulem ish se. Right? We see that one ish is called lahem, like we saw about Yosef. Ish. Veikulahem ish se. Which means one guy, one man, can take for everybody else. Frek the Gemara, you know it says Veikulem ish se. I need it for something else. It's not a redundant pasuk like you said. You know what I need it for? Domer b'Yitzchak, big Kiddush. Ish, what's a man? Can I call my 8 years old man? He'd like to be one. He's not yet halachically, right? What's an ish? Above marbitzva. Ish zoiche v'loya koton zoiche. Which means the Torah is coming to tell me that only an ish, in other words, maybe really, and this is now going with the other option. Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. The Torah is coming to tell me as follows. Really, yeah, you know what kind of person can do the shlichus? Really, maybe the shlichus is shlichus only if one of the guys, one of the partners does it for other people. So why did you write an extra pasuk? It's not extra. It's telling me a detail. The detail is adults only. Only an ish, veloi, koton. Ish veloi koton, which supports this one. Maybe really it's only shlichut of shutfus. But the Torah is telling me only an ish and not a young boy below bar mitzvah, only they can do the shlichus. Now, why is that? Says Rashi. Now, the question is, asks Tosfos. Let's go to Tosfos directly. Tosfos asks the question, what? You need a posuk to tell me that a koton won't buy your korban pesach for you? What's the chiddush? Let's read Tosfos inside. Tosfos, the second Tosfos, so nice and so yummy. A cotton can't acquire anything. Why does the Torah have to tell me some kotchim thing? What's the story? Stam. A cotton can't acquire anything. He has no yad. He doesn't have acquisition power. Answers Tosfos v'shloimar. I need a special pasuk to exclude cotton from buying Pesach. Why? You know why? The Salka Daitach, I would have thought, oil the shaykh b'achilas psochim v'tzorich limanos olav. Believe it or not, Tanim, below bar mitzvah, they have to be mono on the Pesach. Yeah, you as an adult, you have to make sure that the cotton eats the korban Pesach. So he's in the parsha. It's true that he doesn't have yad to acquire, but he's like an adult for Pesach because he has a chiyuv to eat. Dichtiv sell a bais, afilu cotton. I would have thought maybe zocha for other people as well. Maybe just like the cotton has the shaykhis in the korban Pesach, he's a subscriber. Minu, that's what it's called, yeah. So for the korban Pesach, so too maybe he can acquire it. Kamash Malan, he doesn't. So right now that's what we're saying. Ish veloy cotton, we are stuck, Rabbi Isai. We are stuck. You know why? Because why? Ish veloy koton is telling me that's a question, right? Yeah, that's a question because if we say ish veloy koton, so this pasuk is not redundant. If the pasuk is not redundant, then really, then no. Right now we're good. You see, I got confused. Ish veloy koton, ish zoiche veloy koton zoiche. So we need this pasuk. This pasuk is coming to tell me this, and therefore, if this pasuk is not redundant, then we are in bad shapes because now we say only shlichut of shutfim, right? This works with this. Ish veloy koton, the pasuk is not redundant. Pasuk not redundant, you only have one pasuk. What does that one pasuk tell me? Tell me shlichut of shutfim. That's always the way it goes, right? That's how it goes. So right now we don't know. We don't know. We still have a question. Maybe only if the shutaf is a partner, is a shliach, a regular shliach. We don't know. So now answers the Gemara, right? So yeah, answers the Gemara. Who? You know where he's going to learn this halacha from? Me'ish lefi ochloi nafka. Very good. Yeah, which means there's the third pasuk. Ish lefi ochloi. Yeah, ish lefi ochloi. You're asking me where I can learn the halacha that an ish should acquire and not a koton. I learned it from here. Ish lefi ochloi is written about Pesach. That belongs. Do you understand what's going on here? This Aleph works well with Aleph, and now with this Aleph. And the base work together. That's how I structured it. Yeah, Ish Lefiochel is telling me that Ish, that is telling me Ish Veloy Koton, right? Very good. Now the domino begins. Very nice. If the pasuk Ish Lefiochel is teaching me Ish Veloy Koton, right? So Mimela, this pasuk back is redundant, right? Because the extra halacha we learn from another pasuk. So now these two psukim are saying the same. Very good. If they both say the same, Imeinu Inyan, it teaches me regular shlichus. That's what we're holding right now. Yeah? And that's why, for now, we're okay. Now we're good. I'm repeating again. It's a very nice domino. First pasuk is telling me, that means, naturally speaking, shlichus of a shutaf. I don't know of anything else, right? Shlichus of a shutaf says, well, no. I have another pasuk that says exactly the same. If two psukim are saying the same, it's mechadish more. It's mechadish an overflow. Mechadish not only a shutaf, even if it's a non-shutaf, even if it's a regular guy. Shlichus, imeno inyan, it's shlichus. You're asking me that this pasuk is needed to exclude a cotton? No. I have another pasuk on the side. My good friend, the third pasuk, ishlef yochloi. That pasuk teaches me ishvel cotton. That teaches me ishvel cotton. This pasuk is extra. Good. When you have an extra pasuk, two psukim which are redundant, nice. That is coming to tell me that even if it's a regular shliach without shutfus, it's a good shliach. That's what we're holding now, but we're not over yet. I may repeat the whole thing if you want me to. I will. Now, frek the Gemore v'akati mibayle says the pasuk. No, you're using the pasuk ish lefi ochloi to tell me that a koton cannot be involved in the shlichus. I'll teach you something else from that. The shechtin es pesach halayochid, which means shechtin es pesach halayochid means that if one person has two qualities, he has very healthy appetite and he lives by himself. Can he bring korban pesach all by himself? I once had an argument about that as a young avrech with a family member. Yeah, is it possible? Let's say you live by yourself. You're an individualist. You own little cute studio apartment, and you like to eat a lot of meat. So you're a candidate for what? Eating korban pesach all by yourself. Yeah, you'll manage. The guy he's one of those people you see him in the meaty restaurants, wolfing down like steak after steak. He's that. Can you have halachically, because we all know Pesach has to be eaten in a group, right? That's what we're always taught. I'm asking you a question. Can such a person eat entire korban? Let's say he can't physically. Halachically, is it okay for him to have a korban Pesach with a one-man chabura? Yes. Look at that. Says the Heilige Torah. Ish means one man. It's a one-man show, one-man band. He's the only game in town. So Ish lefi ochloi, the Rambam paskins that way. In Hilchos Korban Pesach, Perek Beis Halacha Beis, if I'm not mistaken, Shechtin is the Pesach Halayochid. The domino is falling again. It's like the chain reaction. Now look at that. Now let's look how much fun this is. Torah. Again. Ish veloy kot, ish lefi ochloi. You know how we use this pasuk ish lefi ochloi to tell me ish veloy koton, right? So ish v'loy koton is not learned from this one. Ish v'loy koton is not teaching me this, right? So what do I learn from here? I learn shlichus. What kind of shlichus? Extra shlichus. I'm not learning anything from this pasuk because the words ish v'lakoton are learned from somewhere else, right? So now this pasuk v'ikcholam ish is extra. It's good that it's extra. Remember, that's always good. This pasuk is extra. The two psukim are saying the same. The mechadish, the bigger chiddush of shlichus. Shlichus is the bigger chiddush. It has a crown on its head. Yeah, shlichus is the choshuv one. Yeah, well, shlichus shel shutaf is less choshuv. Shlichus without shutfus is an extra one, which you learn if you have an extra pasuk. The pasuk is extra because the other halacha of ish v'loy koton, you learn it from where? From somewhere else. So this pasuk is now available and free to be extra to teach me shlichus without shutfus. Frek de Gemore, sovar lo, zog de Gemore, no. Sovar lo kiman de Omar, ein shochten es Pesach ala yochid. He really thinks ein shochten es Pesach ala yochid. Yeah, no. We say shochten ein shochten es Pesach ala yochid. Very good. So sorry, I forgot to write it. I mean, I said it. Baal peh. Yeah, the words ish l'fiochlo is teaching me what? Is not teaching ish v'lekotan. It teaches me ish echad, one man show. Ish echad levadoi. Yeah, I said it already. I just like to be yekish and write it all down. Yeah, ish v'le. So now, yeah, okay. Oh, says the Gemara, he must say svir sover lo. Rabbi Yonah says to say kiman domer ein shochten es pesach ala yochid. Oh, in other words, he really thinks that this is not true. He believes that ish echad levadoi is not true. Rabbi Yonason doesn't believe in that. Rabbi Yonason thought like you, Yaakov. He thinks that really one person cannot eat by himself. Oh, if so what is this ish lefiochlo coming to tell me? Only what? Ish v'loy koton. That's good with us. We're good now. We finished. Now we finished. We're done. Domino game is over. It's good. He doesn't believe in ish echad levado. He doesn't think one person can eat by himself. So this pasuk ish is coming to exclude cotton. So that's where we excluded the cotton from. So this remained free. Great, good. This pasuk is redundant, extra, superfluous, and that's good for us because we now have two psukim saying the same. Why do you need two psukim saying the same? Two psukim telling me not only shlichus of shutaf, even shlichus of a foreign shutaf. Hazel of QED. Now that's where we're holding. If you want me to repeat that, I'll do that gladly, but I'd like to continue first, and then I would repeat that mahalach. But Baruch Hashem, I think I have it clear. I hope that you do as well. Let's continue for now. Yes, if you have quick questions, it's 10 o'clock. It's a good time to take a break. Break for commercials. Ellen's Kitchen. Break the Gemore. The Ella comes a new question on the same matter. Now let's examine another opinion here. Rav Gidol on behalf of Rav said as follows. How do you know that a shliach is like the person himself? Yeah, how do you know a shliach represents a person all the way? Shenemar, because it says, yeah, 1 second, let me do something in the video. Yeah, Shenemar, yeah, it says, V'nosi echad nosi ochad mimate. It says, each nosi, each head of tribe, tikhu, yeah, lincho lesa oretz. Yeah, it's a posuk, yeah, end of Chumash Bamidbar. It says each and every head of tribe will acquire the whole lot, the whole piece of land, the whole area of land that they deserve, their portion. He'll acquire it for the entire tribe. Oh, so what do you see? He's one man. He's very choshev a mensch. There's only one guy, and this is how we know shlichus, right? It's as if they all sent him. All of Bnei Israel, the entire shevet sent him to represent them, like lahavdil elections to the area, and he represents everybody else that sent him. That's how we know shluch shlodem k'moisoi. Correct the Gemara attacking Rav Gidol Omarav. Typically shlichus me'ocho. Why can't we learn shlichus from here? Meaning, what did we say up until now? If I wake you up now in the middle of the night and ask you, how do you know shlichus? You would automatically say Gitin and Psochim, right? We know it Kochim and everything else between. So why does it need a new source? Why do we need the new source of that biblical scene of them, the scene buying for other people? I know it already from other sources. Answers the Gemara, the Tizber Adot Shlichusu. Do you really think that he really meant that it's Shlichus? It's not Shlichus. You know why? Some of the people that he acquired the land for, you know who they were? They were cutesy little babies. They were Ktanim. They were ktanim, they were young children. They are orphans, and they have no grandfather, they have no father. And what do they get? They acquire a piece of land. We said a cotton cannot acquire for himself. Other people can get it for him. Nice. But shlichus they cannot do. Yeah. Says Rashi, and this is all turmoil here. I'm not going to the question now. There's Bnei Yoshua, but Lamaise, Rashi says in the pasuk of Shilcha, which we learn the shlichus from, right? The Shilcha, it says ish, a man, not a cotton. We know that a cotton cannot create shliach. Yeah, let's say a cotton of 10 years old wants to appoint you to be a shliach for something. Let's say to do kinyan, to receive kinyan. In other, I'll give an example. I can be makne money to a cotton. That is das acheres makno. If I want to give money to, let's say, 9, 10 years old, I can. You can give my 9 years old son. I suggest you don't. Yeah, you can give him some money. Yeah, as a gift. Okay, my 9 years old, very nice. Okay, but can somebody else be my son's shliach to receive the money? No, a cotton cannot send representatives on his behalf, right? For whichever reason. Let's just take that now as an axiom. If so, says the Gemara, you're talking, excuse me, senseless things. Why? Because obviously the bnei the shvatim, the Rosh Shvatim, they were not shlichim, because some of the people who benefit, who receive the recipients were ktanim, and a cotton can't appoint the guy as a shliach. So it's not shlichut over here. So what is it? Okay, so that's the answer. Mimela, right? He didn't really mean, when he said shluch shlodem k'maisei, he didn't really mean that. So what did he mean? 1 second, let's stop right here. How do you know shlichus? From Gittin and Psochim, like we always knew. Very nice, since 2 days ago. Gittin and Psochim. So what's the story about the Nisim? It's not Shlichus. So what is it? Why did it say Shluch Shalom Dem K'moisoi? Answers the Gemara, Ella. Now I will tell you what he really meant. He heard the Rova Bar Avuna. He meant what Rova Bar Avuna said that he meant. Rova Bar Avuna, pay attention to the names. Who's Rova Bar Avuna quoting? Omar V'Gidol Omar Rav. It's the same people mentioned before with a new flair, a new color. Minayin shezochin l'adam shlo b'fonav. Rabbi Yisrael, classical words. How do you know that I can be zoiche? How do I know that a person may, what's zoiche? Benefit, credit, another person even without his knowledge, not in his presence. Shenemar v'nos yechad nos yechad. Parents, you enjoy the $1 million. I found yesterday an envelope, $1 million. For me, I don't need anything. I'm such a little skin. And what do? I pick up the $1 million on behalf of parents. He doesn't know about it. He doesn't think about it. Doesn't care about it. He didn't send me, and he works. If I do something on behalf of my friend without him sending me, as long as it's for his benefit, we say that it's fine. That's what we learn from the Nisim. I'm asking you a question. The people were present at the time of the Chalukah. The Ktanim, we are talking here, children of the stars of the show here. When you have a cotton who's 10, 11, 9, 8, 7, and 12 even as a boy, it's as if he's not there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize for the children. No children's rights over here. But Lamaisa, cotton, even if he's present, it's as if he's not present, because the cotton below bar mitzvah is nicht kamench. And that's the chiddush. The chiddush is really that the Nisim, you know what they did there? They were zoiche, they acquired good stuff, they benefited, they credited, for people who are halachically non-present, absent because of ktanim. That's what we know. So let's summarize. Then let's not even summarize. Let's analyze. Here comes a huge question in the Meforshim. Let's analyze. What's the story here, Rav Gidol Amarav? 1 second. He really learned shlichus from where? From Gittin, from Psochim, from the classical ways. What did he learn from the parsha of the Nisim? He learns a different thing called zchia. Not shlichus, but zchia. Nobody sent them. They were zoiche. Yeah, they were zoiche. The Nosi picks up the piece of land, so to speak. He chooses a piece of land for his shevet, including for a 3 years old Moishaleh, who has no idea what's going on. And he's like, zoiche natu shlichus. The Rishonim all scream, one way or the other, zchia mitam shlichus. What are you talking about? You're separating shlichus and zchia. Let me explain something which I told you in the past. How does zchia work? How is it really true? By the way, it's machlokas Rishonim what I'm saying now, but I'm following them for now. How does it work that I can acquire something for Peretz, and Peretz has no idea, is not there, he flew to London? Hope you don't, yeah? So then what? How does it work really? How does a kinyan work like that? You know why? Because when I pick it up for him, it's as if he sent me. Because we know that it's good for the other person to receive the money, yes, he'll do very good things with it. Mimela what? Mimela we see, it's as if he sent me. Yeah, it's a non-verbal minui, appointing. So Mimena, the question is, why is the Gemara making such a dichotomy over here between Zchia and Shlichus? Each one has a different source. It's not true. They're all one and the same. Answers the Tosfos Rosh. The Gemara, as I told you before, is slowly building up. And Chinami, Zechia, which is really just good, 100% good, you don't need a separate source. You know it from Shlichus. Now we're coming to the punchline. According to the punchline, everything will be perfect, super perfect, 5 stars. Get to the next stage and everything will be clear. I'm talking on behalf of Tosfos Rosh. Are you sure that when the Nisim, when the Nisim divided the land between them, everybody was perfectly happy? And when you received a piece of land for Naphtali, for Chetzi Menashe, for Reuven, everybody was happy and they said, oh, we're so happy to live in the mountains? Really? Jewish people? Yeah, we're all b'nei Melochim. It's not only zchus, it's also a choiva. The ika de nichale behar, v'lo nichale bebika. Some people prefer living in the mountain. They don't like living in the valley. The ika de nichale bebika, v'lo nichale behar. Some people like to live in the valley. They don't like to live in the mountain, right? So let's say Shevet, the God in the mountain, right? Who got high up in the mountains? Naphtali, for example. Yeah, Naphtali, I think so. Yeah. Naphtali, they got in the mountain. I'm sure that some Naphtali people came back home and said, like, mountain, I like the beach, right? Okay, what about Zvulun? They got the beach. And some people say, beach? I don't like the beach. I've been there all my life. Yeah, I want now to go to the mountain. Now pay attention. Bishlama, if they're big ones, excuse my language, if they are adults, if they are adult people, then what do we say? If I want to pick up not $1 million, I want to pick up and buy something bad for you. Yeah, let's say I want to be not for you. Yeah, I want to be Meshachar and Evet, and we think let's say Shichu is bad. You can't do it without the knowledge of the Evet, according to some opinions, right? So mainly the big ones, if you're present, you have no choice. You stand there, you grin and bear it. That's Chavin, the fun of that's what Hashem decided for you. But the Ktanim, how can you tell me that you're Zoiche for the Ktanim who are not present? Maybe that cotton is 3 years old. It's as if he's not present. He's going to grow up. At the age of 14, he says, heck, I don't like to live in the mountain. I hate it. I want to go and live in the beach, like the other tribe. And yet you were koine and zoiche to him, and it's not his chutz, it's a choive for him. How does that work? That's not a question. But really, that question will answer everything we asked before. The Ela, here we come to the Maskono, here we come to the top of the mountain. We're about to arrive. The Ela kedrova ba'avuna. Doma over ba'avuna, Omar of Gidol, Omar Rav. Minayin le'soimim sheba'al lachlok b'nichsa avien. Let's say they are Yisoimim. Some of them are young, inexperienced, and naive, and halachically not present. Now they want to divide the assets of the father. The father is dead. You have a few Yisoimim. One of them is 15, the other 20. And the ones who are 3 and 5 years old, many families have kids above bar mitzvah, below bar mitzvah. Shebezin ma'amidin apotropus. BSD now appoint an apotropos, you know it's an apotropos, custodian from BSD, lachuv velizkois, to do some things for the detriment, for the debit, velizkois for the credit. Lachuv amai, what? You are appointing an apotropos to work against them? To do things? Are you normal? I hire a lawyer to work against me? What's going on here? Ela, punch line. Lachuv al menas lizkois, which means I appoint a lawyer. Not really a lawyer, an apotropos. Can be a lawyer, a rabbi, whoever. Now, that apotropos, he's doing his best to do what's best and good and better for the Yisoimim. Maybe he's going to fail. You hire the top lawyer, science fiction, for a lot of money. Never ever happened. He messes up. Did that ever happen in life, in history? No, I'm just imagining, right? You pay the guy, he tried his best, but the judge was against you. I don't know what are the authorities, right? That's what's going on over here. What we learn from this pasuk is BSD may appoint an apotropos to do generally good things for the Yisoimim, although we pay the price that sometimes it will work against them. Well, that's a big chiddush. That's not balabatish. Although usually you cannot do bad things, you cannot create debits and all kinds of trouble to a person who's not there, and the cotton is not there. He's playing in the cheder. The 3 years old, well, the apotropos is fighting for him in BSD against the other brothers or against, I don't know. And yet, maybe the apotropos is going to lose. What can we do? That's life. And we can't say the Yisraelim grow up. They can't say, we want to undo what he did for us. You can't say that. Why? Talmud Loimer v'nos yechad nos yechad nemota tikochu. That's the Chiddush Torah. Let's summarize. Everything is now perfecto. Again, let's summarize. We're now following the opinion that says Shlichus and Zechia go hand in hand, same as twins, which means really the source for Shlichus remains the same. Guys, you can calm down. The source for Shlichus is what? Gittin and Psochim, and from them you learn Kol Torah Kula. How do we know Zechia? Let me now rephrase myself. How do you know that pure Zechia, when somebody else is Zoche to me in a way that is nothing bad about it, at least seemingly in the near future? I picked up $1 million for Yosef now, yeah? And what? Now it's his. $1 million is good. Very nice. Avada, it's a nice thing. We know that from Shlichus. So what's this whole business with the Nesim and the Parsha and the tribe and the Ktanim? What does he want from us? Very simple. The Torah is mechadish to us. When it comes to little children, like Yisoimim, who you appoint somebody for them, generally you do it for the good. You get an adult. If there was no adult involved, you realize that people would have abused them and would have taken advantage in 3 seconds, right? So of course, in general, it's good for them to have a custodian, an adult, to take care of them. Excuse me, maybe sometimes different nafkaminas, there will be bad stuff happening because maybe the apotropos, with all goodwill in the world, will mess up. Or maybe he'll do something that they don't like as an adult. Comes the term Echadish? No. Comes the term tells me, just like the Nesim when they divided Eretz Yisrael, they meant well, right? And by the way, the Nesim business, I'm sorry, veering a little bit, is not a real Makor because that was by Nevuah. That was by Ruach HaKodesh, right? So we don't really learn from there because nobody's going to argue with Hashem. Elamai, let's say there was no Ruach HaKodesh. Let's say you appoint a person to take care of Yisoimim, to buy them a plot of land. Oh, that's a very good idea. Let's say the Yisoimim have 10 million in the bank. The father, a millionaire, dropped dead in the middle of the gym when he was 35, billionaire. He left them 10 million and more. And we say the best thing for them, not to waste the money, is to buy a piece of land, right? So the apotropos should look for the best piece of land. Maybe at the end of the day, the piece of land will cause them trouble. The area will give them trouble. The neighbors, I don't know, that can happen. We don't say let's undo it. We say yes, although it's choiva, but since in general we mean well, we do what we think is best for them, therefore it's considered as zchus, even though it's not pure zchus. Then we learn from the parts in Eretz Yisrael, because in Eretz Yisrael, of course, there are people who are unhappy. Some of the Yisraelim, when they grew up, they would say, when I was 3 years old, nobody asked me. I wanted a bigger land. I wanted small. I wanted by the beach, by the pool, by the club. I don't know what they want. Yeah, Kamash Malan, that he works. So that's what we're saying here. 2 dots. Let's continue now to finish the Amud, and if we have time, I'd go over this again. On the same token, the same subject of the Yisoimim. Amav Nachman Amar Shmuel. Yisoimim Shabar Lachlok Benichse Aviyim. Yisoimim. Now comes the Goen says, you have Yisoimim, as I told you before, Ktanim and Gdoilim. You have Yisoimim who are old enough and savvy enough. They are 25 and 30 years old, and their brothers who are 12 and 11. There are such cases, yeah? So now, okay, you have Yisoimim. Right? I have a 30 years old son and an 8 years old. I should live till 120. Now you have Yisoimim, they have bigger ones and younger ones, older and younger. BSD Ma'amidim Lahem, meaning to the Ktanim apotropos, which means BSD appoint apotroposim to represent the little ones, the young ones. So the young ones should not be taken advantage by the older ones, and they get what Chelek Yofe, they, on behalf of the Ktanim, it's not really on behalf, it's a zchut. The Ktanim can send them. BSD say, okay, listen, Rabbi so-and-so, Mr. Patropos, you represent the little ones, you know, cute ones in the kindergarten, in the diapers. And now what? Please represent them. And the apotropos does that. And his boirer, he selects for them a nice part. Let's say the father left behind many, many pieces of land, a few pieces of land. You try and get for the Ktanim what you think is best for the Ktanim. Now, let's say now those young ones, one day, they grew up, Baruch Hashem, bar mitzvah, very sad, the father's not there, but they grew up, they grew older, now they are 15, 16, 17. Yichoilim limchois. They, as opposed to what we said before, apparently, they can be moicha. They can protest and undo it. The Ktanim can say, listen, when we were young and and foolish, innocent. We're young and innocent. Thank you. We were not present. People acted upon on behalf of us. We're not interested in that. We don't like that piece of land at all. They can. They may protest, not some protest in the street, which means they can really undo it. They can go back to BSD and tell BSD, we want to actually undo the whole thing. We want to now play the game again, and maybe we want what the older ones get. We want to now right? We want to now restart the whole thing, reset. We want to have a general reset, and now we want to divide again. That's what Tanakama says. It's not a Tana, it's an Amoira. That's what the first opinion says. Rav Nachman quoting Shmuel. Rav Nachman Didei Omar. However, Rav Nachman himself argues on Shmuel. The first opinion was Nachman quoting Shmuel. Now, Rav Nachman himself argues and says, no, they cannot. They can protest if they want to and complain to their friend over a cup of coffee, but they can't undo what Beis Din did. They can't protest technically, practically, and say we want to undo the whole business and reset. Why? They don't like it. They can. Beis Din yofe. Because if so, what is Beis Din? You're making fun of Beis Din. You're undermining the authority of Beis Din. Beis Din is not a joke. You don't like it, tough. That's what Beis Din decided, and that's what's Beis Din with the apotropos. They're big people. They're good people. You can't revoke the decision of the Beis Din because you don't like the wind in the area or the neighbor upstairs. No, you can't just undo whatever Beis Din does. Give me a second. Give me 3 lines. So that's machlokes. Let's remember the names. It's important. So Shmuel holds they can undo what Beis Din thinks. We're not so into authorizing Beis Din. And Rav Nachman says, no, once done, it's done. Is it really so simple, the Rav Nachman first wide line? Yeah. Is it so simple, Rav Nachman is such a big fan of the authority of Beis Din, claiming that you cannot undo and revoke Beis Din's decision because why? Beis Din, whatever they did is holy. Is that so? I'll show you otherwise. Ratnan, look at the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, Shum Dayanim. Shum here means the Dayanim estimation. The Dayanim themselves estimated, they evaluated, and we're not talking about Yisoimim. We're talking about a loive and a malve. Let's say a person owes money to his friend, and he's a refusnik. He is not sayis dina. He doesn't listen. He says, I'm not paying my debt. You know why? Because I don't care. I'm not paying my debt. And he says it to Beis Din. Beis Din treats him harshly. Beis Din says, we're sorry, Rabbi. You have to pay your debt. We're going to go down. Remember the Gemara in the V'kama Kupiyud Beis. You go down to his field. The drachta, papa. Comes a point you have to assess, evaluate how much his land is worth to take his land and pay back with it to the lender. They have to assess, and they assessed it. The Dayanim are mumchim. They assess. They are the professional assessors, evaluators. Shepich tu shtus or shtir shtus. Comes later Mr. Loive and says, I'm sorry, I'll prove you wrong. You basically evaluated my land either a 6th more or 6th less. Sometimes the other guy may complain, you gave me too little, right? Or too much, whatever. One of the parties, either the recipient or the giving one, Loive the Malva says, no, here, I'll show you. I'm sorry, Dayanim, with all due respect, big white beards, big black kippah, Talmid Chachamim, you flunked it, you're wrong. Everybody in the market says that piece of land is worth, either a 6th more, 6th less. And we all know the significance of a 6th, right? What happens then? Do we revoke the decision or do we still go along with the decision? Here's Machlokes Tanoim. But Shimon Gamliel Omer Michron Kayam. Deim Ken Makoch Beis Din Yofe. Says Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, no, we stand by what we say. You don't make, I wouldn't say make fun, you don't make light of Beis Din. You don't undermine your authority by changing. Beis Din made a mistake, live with it. Yeah, because otherwise you are, debilitating the koch of Beis Din. The Omar of Huna, I'm sorry, there was an opinion. No, there are 2 opinions here. Here, I'm sorry, there's a girsa here on the side. The Tanakama says otherwise. Here, the girsa is that the Kitzer, Shumadayon Michran Bottom. No, I'm sorry, I skipped a line. Let's start again for the first wide line. Shumadayonim Shibir Tushtus Michran Bottom. Sorry, missed it. According to Tanakama, yes, you revoke it, you change it. Michran Bottle. In other words, the assessment of Beis Din is annulled. You have to reassess Beis Din. You were wrong. I'm sorry, you're wrong, says Tanakama. Change your opinion. Everything changes, reset. That's Tanakama. Abshim Gamliel loy memichran kayim im ken makoch Beis Din yofer. Abshim Gamliel says no. Let's give koch the Beis Din the authority, the power. Don't change what they decided, even though they're wrong. What about Rav Nachman? The Omar Vuna Berchinan Omar Rav Nachman. Halacha Gdiv Chachamim. Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says we follow Chachamim that say what? Yet to change the mice of Beis Din. Steer and Rav Nachman, black and white. Oy vavoy, look at that. In the first case of the Yisoyimim, Rav Nachman said, Beis Din, Beis Din. Beis Din have to be treated with respect. Even though the cotton doesn't like what they did, you have to stay with their decision. And here says Rav Nachman, you change what Beis Din decided. They made a mistake. Answers the Gemara lo kasha. The answer is quite simple. Obviously, if you follow well the words, it's very different. We're turning the page. Hadato, hadaloito. Very good. Which means, in the second case, Beis Din made a downright mistake. You made a mistake. You said that my land is worth 6 million. It's worth 5 million. I'll show it to you. All the newspapers, all the websites, everywhere. Yeah, all the real estate agents all say against you, Beis Din. There says Rav Nachman, as much as I like Beis Din, I want to give them the covet and the authority. The mamish made a factual mistake. Then you turn things over. But in the first case with the Yisoyimim, they're unhappy. They didn't make any mistake. In the first case of the Yisoyimim, if there's no mistake done, why are the Yisoyimim complaining? And says the Gemara, which means, let's say the Yisoyimim wake up one morning, once they're big, they're old enough, and they say, we're not claiming Beis Din were wrong, but we don't like the side of the field where we are. You gave us the field in the south, we prefer a field in the north. And it's not some a whim. We woke up in the morning because we watched a movie yesterday, because in the north, we have another field that we got from our mother's side, which the other ones didn't. In other words, we have a real complaint, a real case of what? Of preferring a certain area over the other for clear financial reasons. So, however, it's not a mistake. It's a preference of the Yisoyimim. Says Rav Nachman, a very, very clear thing. I'm looking at Machlokes Tanoim both ways. I'm a nice, good, middle-of-the-road guy. Rav Nachman was a Dayan. Rav Nachman was the top person in Dayanim. So was Shmuel was saying. Also, Rav Nachman says Rav Nachman simple. Can you not change the opinion of Beis Din? The Psak of Beis Din depends. If Beis Din made a mistake with numbers, 2 + 2 = 5, I'm sorry, it's a mistake. You evaluated too much or too little. I'm sorry, Beis Din. Go back on what you say and let's reset the whole business. But if Beis Din did not make any mistake, they gave the big brothers and the small brothers exactly 1.535 shekels and 10 agorot each. Very nice. But the Yisoyimim claim, listen, that land is not good for us. It's located in a place that for good, valid reason is not good for us. A location. So we have a good complaint. It's not a mistake on Beis Din's side. It's your preference. It's not a factual mistake. It's a preference, right? What's correct? Chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream? There's no correct, right? And therefore, there says Rav Nachman, we go along with Beis Din and we go with the flow and we stay with Beis Din. You've been very, very patient. Hatzlacha bracha. Good Shabbos, everybody. Everybody here, parents, I want to hear a question. And then we'll say goodbye to people on some YouTube. Good Shabbos and Shabbat Shalom. Yes, parents. Okay.
We put them on